Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We want to invite y'all and welcome y'all for joining us on the next installment of the Mancave Memoirs. My name is Tony Tong. This is my distinguished colleague,
Brandon Tillman in the building.
Brandon Tillman in the building. That rolled right off the tongue, too. You should put that on a shirt. All right.
Sounds marketable.
Very marketable. So for those that you do not know, this is an all-new podcast. It is a safe space for unfiltered male conversation, hence the Man Cave Memoirs. Before we even get started, what I want to do is give a quick shout-out to our sponsors, LT Stogies. They were created in 2018, and they create their cigars with the finest blends of Indonesian and Ecuadorian fillers. So shout out to those guys. If you're looking at getting some cigars, at Cigars for the Casual Man, feel free to stop by their Instagram, LT Stogies, and shout out to the company, man. I think I'm going to spark me up one in a minute. In the meantime, between time, how was your week, Mr. Tillman?
I had a great week, man. Great week. Legendary week. Legendary living. Legendary lifestyle. You know what I mean?
What's over there?
Great week, though. What is it? The end of the month? Yeah, I had a busy, we had hurricane beginning of the fall.
Yeah, I was living through it with you.
Yeah. So also during that hurricane, hurricane, Mercury was in retrograde. So
hold on, elaborate on that. Mercury was in retrograde. What does that mean?
It just it just throws things out of whack. You know what I mean? It causes your shit off.
No, it's on. I'm just checking.
Oh, check my shit too. It just causes shit to go out of whack, and it just was, I don't know if it's one of them things like if it's folklore or if it's you know what I mean, like scientifically proven. But I was just had a lot of challenges as the month of September was going, and at the end of August.
You mean like the way the poles magnetic?
I don't know the exact. I was trying to pull it up, but yeah, it just was wild, man. So anyway, so it's just been something ever since that hurricane. It's just been a lot. I've been just challenging feat after challenging feat, and what I'm saying, just coming out on top, every time, but it's still been something. But this week, to answer your question was good because I had an event, my first event, and something I was planning, for the month of November, a little bit of October, and it was successful, and it was something I was just very satisfied, with the outcome. Because it happened.
It did happen, and I was there. I enjoyed myself. I think that I had a very good time, but the acts were good. I enjoyed being around good people. Yeah, good food, good drinks. Chris Bate did a great job. Herb did a great job, and I'm just excited to see what those guys continue to do as they progress within their career.
Thanks.
As far as myself, my week I feel like I'm in the same space as you in the terms of this retrograde or whatever. I just feel like the laws.
It's no longer happening.
It's no longer happening?
It was like 2 weeks, like the end of September.
Okay.
Was it? No, the end of August through like the beginning of September.
I don't know.
When did the hurricane happen? August 31st, right? 30th?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah, it was during that hurricane time. It's like a 2-week period, like twice a year or some shit like that. But go ahead. I apologize, bro.
Yeah, I was just, I was kind of overwhelmed a little bit with work. The manager of one of my businesses went out of town, so I had to kind of fill in for that. And I was going to do so with my son to help me, but he recently had a close death to him, so he was out. So I was scrambling between both businesses, just filling in, and I just was up to my neck in order. So it was very interesting. It was definitely challenging, but, that's what we're built for. So I just took it in strides. But speaking of the death that my son had experienced, I just been being more conscious about just the things that I eat, the way that I take care of my body. I'm just being in a very structured regimen of going to the gym every day. Shout out to you. I seen you in the gym this morning and just getting it in. But, it just seems like more and more people are passing away from health-related illnesses, cancer-related illnesses than ever before. And now it's becoming closer to me. It's like hitting closer to home. It's closer people that I have relationships with, and it's happening in faster numbers. So it just keeps me on a strict desire to just be the best version of myself I can be from a physical standpoint, and the things that I put in my body and the things that I eat, not just food, but mentally as well.
Nah, for real. And my condolences, because your son is young, like 18. So just for like I told you the other day, like it's tough, when you're young and you lose someone, and you experience that as a as a young teenager or whatnot, and you lose a peer. You know what I mean? It's just like it kind of it's a very big shock. I remember I lost a friend in high school from a car accident, and that was like the first time losing someone really, like a really, really close friend. So, and it was tough. Like I still think about it. You know what I mean? Like 30 years later, 20 years later, or whatever. I'm 30, but yeah, but yeah. 25th reunion coming up. Be there. Y'all don't want to miss this one.
The 25th reunion that you will have with your classmates at the high school that you went to will have no comparison to the amount of epicness that the class of 2003 just recently put on for their 20 years. So I think
it was epic. It was epic.
Oh, you was the videographer, so you was there. You seen it, yeah.
It was
in
epic.
3D.
But it just we're just working, man. Just I think it's gonna be amazing when we get to that point.
So on the last episode, we had this conversation about Sam Altman, and for those of you who don't know who Sam Altman is, he was actually the acting CEO of OpenAI. So if y'all don't know what OpenAI is, it is an artificial intelligence company, more commonly referred to as ChatGPT. So it is a revolutionary platform that allows us to use artificial intelligence to help us do pretty much every task. And now you have AI popping up everywhere, different type of softwares, different type of companies. But OpenAI and ChatGPT was really I would say the pioneers and the trendsetters in terms of who jumped out there first and made the biggest splash. So Sam Altman, he was on the board of OpenAI, and I think there was a few people who didn't like the direction that he was trying to take the company in, right? So they voted to have him removed. And it was like the next day, wasn't it like the next day Microsoft offered him a job, right? So I was intrigued to see how that was going to play out, but that man knows too much about
he's
too much.
He's one of the
founders. Yeah, correct. So
and it's just that's how it works when you have a company that gets to that magnitude. When they bring on the board and they take it public, and it becomes like it's no longer yours anymore. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, Microsoft picked him up and offered him a position, and I guess they kind of retracted their acts and kind of reconsidered and was like, hey, maybe we should bring him back, or at least ask him if he wants to come back, which makes sense with him being one of the founders. And and I could see him wanting to go back there versus take another route with Microsoft. You know what I mean? Like if it's
because that was kind of like his birth child. Yeah, he created that.
Yeah.
But I was doing some research, and it was looking like he wasn't going to have to worry about the people that were voting against him on the board anymore. So we'll see how that kind of plays out with what he has going on. Another thing that we've seen is that we've seen recently this accusation that Cassie made against Diddy, and then Diddy paid this extremely handsome settlement
don't stop.
Extremely handsome settlement, but now he has two more allegations that have surfaced in like the last year, and not the last year, excuse me, two more that have settled in like came out in like the last month. So now Yeah, man, it's hard to be a successful black entrepreneur, mogul. And I don't condone rape. I don't condone assault in any shape, form, or fashion. But I was having a conversation with my colleague earlier, not too long ago. Ceddy P, shout out Ceddy P's in the audience right now. But we were just talking about situations, that we place ourselves in. And I have a lot of logic. I think about things with a lot of reason, and I do not feel like a person should ever have their rights violated. I do not feel like anyone should attack, put their hands on, or forcefully um, push somebody to do something that they don't want to do, especially a sexual act. But it just seems like when we deal with a lot of these prolific entertainers, actors, musicians, moguls, that there is often an incentive for them to pursue certain type of allegations, and it's not for me to say whether they're true or whether they're not. It's just crazy how an allegation, even before you go to the jury and you're judged on whether this is true or not, the way the media works is that it will completely ruin your character, your reputation, and everything that you've built over the course of the past few decades, all on allegations. Now, I can see if like he was convicted, and I'm not saying that he will or will not get convicted, but I can see if he was like convicted and then he was in the jail. But now they're doing all this, and these two girls that came forth, they said that let me actually read this. He is accused of being with Aaron Hall, and Aaron Hall is he's a member of the R&B
Guy.
guy. So very popular group, very adored by women, and allegedly they went back to the room of Aaron Hall's after a show, and she said in the early 90s, so she doesn't even recall if it was in 1990 or 91 based on these documents, but say that they went back to the apartment after a party in which they were consuming alcohol, having fun, having drinks, did more so in at that evening, and ended up having sex. And based on the allegation, it seems that if it was forceful, I'm not going to say whether it was true or whether it's not because I wasn't there. But as I was having this conversation with my colleague earlier, when does it change from an allegation of rape to the accountability of a bad decision? All right, and before that's taken out of context, let me elaborate on what I mean by that. So there have been times that I've went out with my friends, I've had a few drinks. There is a woman that I wouldn't normally talk to or even consider dating or going home with, but I'm a little jolly, I'm a little conversational, and this woman is offering to buy me drinks. Now, she has some type of motive, right? So she's offering to buy me drinks, and she invites me back to her house. Now, in my mind, I might not have any intentions on having any type of physical activity, but I know that there's an opportunity for that to happen if I go. And then I go to this house, and this woman becomes coming on to me. She's kissing me or whatever, gets me aroused and in the mood. I end up having sex with this woman, all for me to wake up in the morning and put my hand on my forehead and say, damn, what did I do last night, bro? You went out bad. That was a bad decision, And maybe it's just how differences of how men and women think, but I'm going to leave that situation and scenario, and I'm going to think back on it 5-10 years later, right now, thinking back on this situation, and I'm not going to say, man, I was taken advantage of by this woman. She assaulted me. She caught me at a vulnerable moment. I'm going to say, I went over there. I was a little too inebriated. I knew what was bound to happen. I allowed it to happen, and I made a bad decision. But I have to take responsibility for my actions, right? Mm-hmm. So that might not be perceived too well by women, like the way that I frame that, but in reality, when do we just take accountability for our actions? And once again, based on that particular scenario, I'm not saying that Diddy is guilty or not guilty. I'm not saying Bill Cosby is guilty or not guilty. I'm not saying any of these other people in the news are guilty or not guilty. I mean, that's what we have a judicial system for in a court of law. They will find that out. But point that I'm making is that it's just so easy for a person of stature and influence to be attacked. And a sexual crime is so heinous that it completely deteriorates the value and the reputation of the man. And that's
just wild, bro. And for the record, I still watch the Cosby Show. So
I still listen to R. Kelly music.
You definitely guarantee there's some R. Kelly music. If you out, like, it's still good music. Like, I think I heard some R. Kelly the other day when we was at the spot.
And even speaking about R. Kelly, I mean, once again, I can't say whether he's guilty or not. I believe that he has probably done a lot of questionable stuff and things that he should not have done. But I mean, we can't sit here and act surprised. This man made a whole album called "Coming Out of the Closet," "Trapped in the Closet." It was like a 7-video series, and it was some weird stuff going on, midgets jumping out of closets and stuff like that. So it's we can't act surprised now when stuff like this comes out, and it's like, oh, I could never believe that one of the greatest R&B singers of all time could do something like this.
Right.
Crazy.
Wow. But yeah, yeah, that's some wild times, man. But hey, let me just back up real quick and talk about this Mercury retrograde. So what it is when the planet Mercury appears to travel backwards across the sky. And that's what Mercury retrograde is. However, in the popular world or whatever, popular space, this time when this happens is traditionally associated with confusion, delay, and frustration. You know what I mean? It didn't yeah. So it says think undelivered love letters, email blunders, and frazzled travel plans. You know what I'm saying? It's just like.
So is it scientifically proven or?
If you practice astrology, if you're like into like horoscopes and stuff, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just based on this, it's like, I don't think it's scientifically proven, but if you're like into like the planets and like if you live by a horoscope, then you'll be extra sensitive to this time when this happens, and you'll probably look at everything like very closely and stuff like that,
Got you. So I also seen and I don't want to get too much in on rumors and really talking about things of that nature, anything with negative connotation and stuff like that, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to have unfiltered male conversations of value and importance. But I feel there's a need for me to speak on this just by the fact and the reason that we are fathers. We have children that are young teenagers. You have children a child that'll be a young teenager as well soon. And, we have to deal with the growing pains of children coming into themselves as they become teenagers. And I seen this video of T.I. and T.I.'s son, and they had this big 50 years of hip hop Super Bowl performance in which like every major rapper from Atlanta performed during this set, right? And T.I. was one of them. And they had some footage of him in the skybox, and they're having this conversation. Undoubtedly, there's a group of people, and King, which is one of T.I.'s youngest sons, I guess was questioned about his upbringing, and he felt the need to, I don't want to say oppose, King felt the need to express that he had a rough upbringing and that he was raised in the hood, or he was outside, as they say. And then this created this whole conversation and dialogue between the father and the son, who the father, of course, is going to say, and the mother, letting him know what type of childhood he actually had. And this becomes a shouting match because the kid kind of gets in his feelings, and then before you know, him and his dad are tussling on live. So I hate that it came to that, but his dad was saying, have you ever had a roach crawl on your face? Have you ever not had your lights on? So he's making these fabrications about how his childhood is to create some type of social status. And I guess I get it, because um, kids right now are being molded by social media. So you have social media who is marketing and glamorizing sex, they're glamorizing drugs, they're glamorizing gangsterism, and all of these things. So it makes you feel like that's natural, or that in order for me to fit in or be cool, I have to be a part of that. And they're even using pawns who might have actually had rough upbringings as children, and they're letting them talk about whatever they want to at an early age, which motivates other artists to get in here and talk about the same thing. And then these artists start getting record deals as well. And they've never lived that lifestyle, right? So now what you have in the culture is a whole promotion in society that's revolved around gangsterism, drugs, violence, drill. And in order to be cool, because this is the cool thing in the media, kids feel like they have to be a part of that to be cool. So, you got him and his followers, because he's gained all this attention from who his mother and his father is, and being on this TV show, that he has to be able to live this image that he proclaims. So to have his parents tell him that, you had a silver spoon in your mouth and you grew up in a mansion in a gated community, I guess that hurt his ego. But I mean, in reality, even though he probably stayed with his grandma, his auntie a little bit, I'm pretty sure that he never went without a meal, never had to worry about a bill being paid. His mother was a singer in one of the 90s biggest R&B groups. His father, arguably one of the biggest assets to and pioneers of trap music and Southern hip hop culture, who both did very, very well in their musical careers. This kid really hasn't had to work for anything, and I guess no, not at all.
I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't know much about the overall situation, but I know he was on the TV show. That's about it. So I mean, I'm pretty sure he was pretty close to the
They were. I mean,
success.
the kid is pretty close to the bag. I mean, he got diamonds all on his neck. He's never dropped a record. So I mean, he's had a pretty good life. But I think what troubled me the most is that, children these days are so lost in themselves, seeking social validation from people that they either don't like or don't know, that they have to create this persona and build themselves up to act a certain type of way, to where you got this 18, 19-year-old kid, I don't know how old he is, but he's on his social media live, and he is irately arguing with his father,
while online.
Right? So it wasn't like a secret thing, like you're doing this in front of your followers. And I just grew up in a time period where no matter how frustrated I might have been with my parents, I would never disrespect their name or my family's name in a public setting. So these will always be something that I would speak of to my father. But, I don't know. At 18 years old, I don't think that I could ever tell my father with a straight face that you're capping. We didn't use that word back then, but I couldn't tell my father that, oh, you capped out. You capping. Why are you doing all that capping?
Right.
My son can't tell me that right now. What? Remember when we were little, what you couldn't say? You couldn't say that any adult was lying, right? That's basically what you're saying when you're saying you're capping, that you're lying. That's crazy, man.
The shoe fits.
Right. You doing any shopping for Black Friday?
No. Yes. Hey, I've made a post, but I didn't even share it. It was like, not me taking back all the impulse purchases I bought on Black Friday, bro, because I was out there. And I ain't took nothing out the bag or nothing. Stuff just been sitting in the car like, why did you buy us? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I was looking at this video, and it was showing that there's like this whole marketing conspiracy between Black Friday, in which the prices aren't really marked down. They're the same prices that they've been all month, but they market it to you as the Black Friday price. And if you look at the sticker behind it, it's the same price. But because of the pandemonium and the marketing behind the day, you rush out there and buy some stuff.
I don't think that's.
You don't think that's true?
Nah, I think they just price it high during the day, and on Black Friday you just paying the regular price, the real price.
I can go for that too.
You know what I mean? Or you're paying the I just say the real price. Right. I wouldn't say like the wholesale price or nothing like that, but
so normally it's super marked up, and then we're just getting the regular markup. Then I got you.
Because it's they're gonna sell more. More products, more volume. So It's just like they still gonna make as much as they would have made throughout the year selling it for the regular price that they make in this whole little 30 days that they finna have these prices going. Because price is gonna be low for the whole month, till Christmas or whatever.
Christmas, absolutely.
So,
I did some Cyber Monday shopping. Actually, I bought.
I did too. Shouts out to the Marathon store.
The Marathon store. Shout out to the Marathon store. I actually bought some Brevecto for my dogs. If y'all don't know that, I have a lot of dogs. I breed dogs. I'm a dog lover, so I have some. And Brevecto is a medicine for like flea and tick treatment. But anyway, I got like 30% off. So yeah, I ordered as much as I could. Now that was an actual discount, like 30%, like off of like a medical treatment. So yeah, I was pretty excited about that. I felt like I made a responsible and conscious purchase.
Thanks. I'm happy for you, man.
Mm-hmm. Seeing Elon Musk has kind of been in the news. Have you seen that?
Nah, man. I've been out of the news, man. I need to get back in it. But yeah, shouts out to Elon Musk, man. Actually, we ran into a guy that works with Tesla over the weekend, and
yeah, Mr. Miles. Shout out to Mr. Miles.
Yeah. So he called Elon methodical.
Methodical.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So
it was. Well, before I even jump into that, I think most people are pretty familiar with Tesla. He came in and took over Tesla, increased the value by crazy margins. Are you invested in Tesla right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I got to share it to a Tesla myself. But so recently he's been sharing his opinion. I was having this conversation with my son we were just talking about, you're not going to be able to give your opinion on a lot of things once you really scale your brand and get the audience that you want. But so undoubtedly what's going on is that Elon Musk has had a lot of opinion in regards to international conflict and international conquest. And he has even been accused of being anti-Semitic in some rooms. And for y'all that don't know what anti-Semitic means, it basically means anything that is anti-Jewish or anti-Israel. But they created this word called anti-Semitic and this phrase. So because of these allegations, I guess some of his language that he's used online, all of the major sponsors have pulled, from CBS, NBC, Disney World. I'm seeing at least a list of like 12 people that have pulled. And he's lost about, I want to say,
pulled what?
40 billion, pulled all the ads off of X.
Oh, I didn't know that. Welcome.
Disney, Apple, and IBM pulled out ads. Lionsgate pulled out ads. Paramount pulled out ads. And I think that it really comes down to not necessarily what he is saying, but he is trying to create a safe space for free speech. And in giving people the constitutional right to free speech, people are going to share their opinions that are not always received by others as truth, or somebody that might have differences of opinion. So in the process of him creating this free speech area on Twitter, you have people that are sharing their opinions about conflict, especially the conflict that's going on in present-day Palestine between the Palestinians and the Israelites, or the Israelis. That's how you say it. Excuse me. So there's a lot of people that sharing their opinion about that. There's a lot of protests that are going on all over the country. They actually just had a protest in New York yesterday where they shut down the whole Brooklyn Bridge, I want to say.
Damn.
I don't know. Yeah, crazy. But, you know, this conversation is taking places in areas and on platforms where they can't be censored. So because of this, um, he's having backlash from these companies, and he actually just traveled to Israel. I was reading that today to look at some of the damage that was done by attacks from Hamas during this conflict. So, I hope that everything pans out for him. I hope he makes the best decisions that he can make because I like him. I think he's very smart and has a very intellectual and progressive mind. And he's a white African American. It's like, how many white African Americans do you know?
That's funny.
Yeah,
Shouts out to Elon Musk. Shouts out to Tesla.
absolutely.
Shouts out to SpaceX. Shouts out to PayPal.
Mm-hmm. I was also reading something about Jolie Pratt. I don't know if you know her. I'll pull this up for you. So
You related to Kyla Pratt?
no. So this is interesting. Is Zaria, excuse me.
Oh, Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie's daughter.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if you remember a while back, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, they were adopting a lot of black African kids, and they were in the media being criticized about this because they got all these black kids and they don't have any white kids. To my knowledge, they might have had some white ones, but you only see the black kids on TV. And the oldest daughter was named Zaria, and I think a lot of people was concerned about how her upbringing was going to be, especially being African, being raised by two successful white thespians who have acting careers. But I recently just seen that at 18 years old, she actually pledged Mu Pi chapter at Spelman. So Spelman is, of course, Atlanta. Yeah.
They was I remember they was arm babies carrying them.
Yeah, she's 18 now, but she crossed AKA at Mu Pi at Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia. And I think that is interesting. Not just that it's interesting, but it's interesting to see how that all played out because people would have assumptions that she would be more whitewashed, I guess, being a African child in this household. But she pledged in one of the most prominent Black Greek sororities in the Divine Nine. So said that she had always been interested, kind of did some research, had no problems really making friends when she got on campus, and that's really just where she was pulled to. So shout out to Miss Zahari Jolie for pledging AKA. Shout out to all the AKAs as well. Made a post about them the other day. It seems like when the AKAs drop a line, it's like 56 of them all the time. Like, have you ever seen an AKA line less than 10? Have you? Never? Have you seen an AKA line less than 10?
I've only seen the AKA lines from here, so.
Have they been major, like big lines?
I mean, yeah. I mean, but I can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it looks. If that's normal, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they normally.
It's normal for them.
Yeah, it's normally deep.
Definitely. Let me have one more smidgen of this fine brown spirits that we have in here.
I'll be glad when it's gone.
You'll be glad when it's gone. You ready to switch back and go to tequila?
Yeah.
I'm a tequila drinker, right? I like tequila. I like Patron. I like Don Julio. I like Terramana. I like Casamigos. These are my favorite beverages. But in cigar culture, I always see people drinking brandy and Cavassier and whiskey and brown liquors.
Bourbon, right? Jim Beam?
That actually that we have in there is Jack.
Oh, I didn't. I thought you said Jim Beam in there. Mm-hmm. Nah, but we're gonna have to switch it up to something a little more smooth. A little more smooth. Like fill up with some Douce or something.
Mm-hmm. Or some White Claw.
Nah, not that smooth. Not that smooth. But yeah, some Douce and we're not being paid by these people, these companies we're naming, but just it is what it is. Just that's kind of smooth one that I know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Pause. In case that sounded crazy.
I really wasn't gonna talk too much about sports, man, but I really gotta highlight this Florida FSU game, Florida State FSU, one of the biggest rivalries in college football, especially in the SEC. And us being in Georgia.
Who? You said Florida
and Florida State.
University of Florida and Florida State.
University of Florida and Florida State.
You have to pronounce that Florida verse. Okay, cool.
Yeah, well,
but that was on at the bowling alley, right?
Yeah, it was on the bowling alley. FSU won. But the reason why, I think a lot of people from our area gravitate towards Florida State. The majority, anyway.
45 minutes away.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
and then we
Gainesville is only what, hour and a half?
Right.
So, yeah.
I feel like we have a lot more people from Valdosta High School Lounge that assimilate into that particular program. So it was really
FSU.
Yeah. So with FSU playing, it was really excited to see Jaheim Bell, who played at Valdosta High School, but also Tate Rodemaker, right? He was a quarterback for Valdosta High School a few years back. His father was a coach. He ended up going to FSU, and now he is the starting quarterback. And he had a pretty phenomenal game. I mean, we won that rivalry, so shout out to FSU for their awesome
shout out
game.
to FSU. One of my classmates, him and his brothers went to FSU, and all of them went to the major leagues, the Drew brothers. So yeah.
Okay, they all went to the major league, like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And they all played for FSU too. So shout out to FSU. They keep that. I see they've been keeping that Lowndes County, that pipeline to the professionals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Flowing for years. Like, I mean, but they know, it's 45 minutes away, and this is a source for, phenomenal athletes. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
From Valdosta High School, Lowndes, Valwood, other private schools, Georgia Christian, like, we have the talent. We have the skills, not only in sports, but academics. You know what I mean? You have a very smart daughter. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Is she going to UGA?
She plans on going to UGA. Yeah. So, yeah, we fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, for sure. And, we got artists, talented artists, music, whether it's film, and Valdosta is just a very untapped resource. So this is just, me just shouting out everybody in Valdosta that's really just got something to give to the world. You know what I mean? Just keep doing your thing. Shouts out to Ceddy P. He's from Valdosta, but he's up in Atlanta, like, putting on for the city. So
doing big things in the real estate market, man. Shout out to Ceddy.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. Baked Gods, creator and founder. So if y'all watch these podcasts or you watch any of my content or Brandon's content, it's quite often that you'll see us in some Baked God hats or Baked God shirts and stuff like that. And he was actually the founder of that clothing brand. Ceddy P.
Yeah.
So we look forward to having him on the podcast pretty soon. And he can tell you about his journey in real estate as well as fashion as well.
And he's an author.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a writer, like in the booth, like, music, a musician. There we
like
go.
bars,
all that. Yeah, like I guess you can call him like a producer.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know. He's kind of like shouts out to my boy Chemo, because he coined the term APE. That's an artist, producer, engineer. Well, Ceddy P don't engineer, so
he's just AP.
He's an artist. He ain't AP.
He's an app.
Yeah. But yeah, shouts out my boy Ceddy P. But yeah, V-Town, man. And that's, that's why we doing this, because, we are from the V-Town. So we, just doing what people from V-Town do.
I think that we do a lot more than what most people from V-Town do.
I agree. But, once again, it is what it is.
But before we get ready to wrap up this episode, is there anything that you want to hit on, talk about? Christmas shopping you plan on doing?
My Christmas shopping is gonna happen. I'm gonna share more about that with y'all next week. when we record because we just put the tree up.
We put our tree up too last week. Yeah.
We put our tree up Saturday or yesterday.
You got any presents under yours yet?
We got 4 under there. But it's just cool. I was actually doing the comedy show. So when the tree was getting put up, you know what I mean, I was at the comedy show. So I came home, the tree was all lit up and you know what I mean, and it was just like, you know, and I it was pretty cool. So but I'm gonna do some shopping and I think we're gonna start bringing in some outside footage, outside segments and stuff like that. So we're gonna try to give y'all some more layers of the Mancave memoirs and things like that. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
Try to give them some more stuff. You know, not prematurely, but we'll kind of sprinkle it in there.
Absolutely. If you had to give the people a word of advice before we go, what would it be?
You know what I'm always say? If you don't know, you're about to know. I have a list of quotes that I live by, but one of my favorite ones is, excuses only matter to the people that make them. And I'm gonna say that, but I want to also say this because if I have one thing to say, I want to tell people to win. Small wins, big wins, they add up. You just got to just focus on getting the win, and that's the inside job.
That's the inside job. I feel you. If I had to give it one piece of advice, and it's probably one of my most favorite pieces of advice, is most profound as far as how it's impacted my life. I made a couple of reels about this, but in order to be more, you have to see more. So in order to become more, you have to first know that it's possible. You have to be introduced to information that you've never been introduced before, and you have to be around people who have the same goals and ambitions as you. So if you're around the same people who are doing the same thing, you're not going to know that anything else is possible but that. So in order to see more, you have to be more. You have to get into the right rooms where the information is being spread and you're around people who have the same goals and ideas as you. Until next time, this is the Mancave Memoirs with Tony Tong and Brandon Tillman.
I'm Brandon Tillman. It's Tony Tong.
Yes, sir. Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the notifications for all of our content. Until next time, peace. Be great.